Cuando quieras.
If we're ready?
Cuando quiere.
Okay, well, first of all, thanks a lot for your time.
Not at all.
It's a good opportunity for us. And we usually start interviews by people introducing themselves, just saying their name, their occupation, and age, if you will.
Okay. Are you ready?
I am ready.
I'll speak to you, not to the camera. Yeah.
Just one sec. Obviously, I don't know. But ready.
Okay.
Does that sound okay?
Yep.
Okay.
Hello, my name is Susan George. I'm a writer. I've written 14 or 15 books, usually on political subjects, but about world power in the areas of hunger and debt and various large institutions, and now quite a lot in finance. And I'm an activist as well. I'm a founding member of Attac in France, and now I'm honorary president, having been much more active on the ground. And I'm also very much attached to a research institute in Amsterdam called the Transnational Institute, which is a collection of scholars from many places around the world. We have fellows in different places, and I'm the board chair of Transnational Institute, having spent 40 years attached to them. Well, democracy is not something that you have and then you've got it forever. It's something, of course, people had to fight for, but that doesn't mean, A, that it's perfect, or B, that it's permanent. And therefore you have to keep on fighting for it, or you're generally going to lose it. I have a friend who says, democracy isn't something you have, it's something you do, and I think that's pretty accurate. And what is happening now is that finance has become so strong that finance is calling many of the shots in Europe and in various other places in the world, but particularly in the United States and Europe. So finance is fast. Finance goes, instantaneously, and democracy is slow. And very often finance doesn't have time to wait on government decisions, and you can see that most clearly in the replacement of rather terrible people like Silvio Berlusconi. Okay, fine, he's replaced by a man from Goldman Sachs, Mario Monti. But we've had three like that now. We've had the president, not just the Prime Minister of Italy, but the Prime Minister of Greece, who replaced Papandreou, who's another Goldman Sachs man. No, he's a Lehman Brothers man. And the new head of the central bank is another Goldman Sachs man, another Italian. So I suppose you could expect that the European Central Bank is not a democratic institution, and therefore you don't expect the leadership to be democratic. But it's in Europe we are going more and more towards what finance wants. And every time there's a European summit, and they say every time this will be the last one, and we'll get it all fixed, and don't worry. And we have to reassure the markets, and the markets are reassured for a day or two, and then they get nervous again. So then we have to have another summit, and on and on and on. But it's the markets that are making the decisions. So this is, of course, not democratic. What we have very little of is participatory democracy in individual countries. There's very little democracy in the workplace. There is very little democracy in the universities or in the other major institutions. But at least we have elections, which is sort of ground zero for democracy. I think the European Union has just decided that if the people don't vote correctly, then they will be bludgeoned into voting correctly, or we'll make them vote again until they get it right. And meanwhile, they are pushing austerity along with the IMF, and austerity is absolutely unable to deliver growth, to deliver prosperity, to deliver employment. You can have either austerity or you can have better conditions of employment and more prosperity, but you can't have both. So when they choose austerity. And I find it becoming more or less like a religious organization, really. They've got dogma, they've got they've got the high priests, they've got the whole apparatus. And if you don't agree with the doctrine, then you're a heretic, and too bad for you. I mean, they can't burn us yet. They can't burn us at the stake, and they can't put us in prison because we disagree with the dogma. But, they might be working on it. I think that democracy is alive and well when people are allowed to make choices. And the Arab Spring proves that the ideals of democracy are alive and well, that you can't kill an idea like that as easily as you might think. But again, finance is coming in and taking over. There's nothing you can vote on there. There's nothing you can really express except in the way that the Indignados did or the Occupy Wall Street movement did. Remember that Hitler was elected. People forget that. They think he made a coup d'etat because of the fire of the Reichstag and all of that. No, he was elected chancellor. Don't forget that capitalism has to eat. It's hungry all the time. You have to give it food. And what the markets are after now is the privatization of everything that has not already been privatized. And so part of the austerity programs, I'm very sorry, but I must answer the telephone, and then I will take it off. And they're getting rid of all of these people who don't count. That's the worst thing about democracy. I'm sorry to say, but there's a lot of people in the world who don't count. And if they disappeared tomorrow, it would be a trauma for their families, it would be a trauma for their friends, but it would not be a trauma for the economy at all. You could get rid of 2 billion people in the world today, and it wouldn't make an economic difference. In fact, it would be better for the kind of economy that we have. So that's a terribly cynical thing to say, but it's what I think is the truth. All of the reasons that we got into this mess in the first place are still there. And all of the institutions which got us into this mess in the first place are not only still there, but they are even freer to do what they were doing than they were 10 years ago. So why should we emerge from crisis? The same causes produce the same effects in good logic, So as Einstein said, if you keep doing exactly the same thing and expect a different result, that's a definition of insanity. They are giving more and more to the very people who caused the crisis to begin with. And that is, I won't say it's a conspiracy, but that is a remarkable feat. Everybody who failed, everybody who did things wrong is okay. And usually in much better shape than they were before. And that is fantastic.
As you said, that 1% is fatter and stronger.
The 1% is doing very well, thank you. Yes.